50 years, half a century of darkness. Miles beneath the crushing weight of the Atlantic Ocean, a metal giant rests in silence. For decades, searchers scoured the depths. Expeditions came and went. The ocean kept its secret. But legends don't stay buried forever. This is the story of the Boeing C-17 Globemaster III, a titan of the skies that vanished without a trace, swallowed by the sea in a single catastrophic moment. And now, after 50 years of searching, after 50 years of mystery, we found it. This is the mission that changed everything we thought we knew about what lies beneath. The date was seared into aviation history like a brand. A routine transport mission across the Atlantic, clear skies, experienced crew, an aircraft built to withstand the impossible. The C-17 Globemaster III, a flying fortress capable of carrying 77 tons of cargo, designed to land on unprepared runways in the world's most hostile environments. This wasn't some fragile passenger jet. This was a machine built for war, for disaster relief, for the missions no other aircraft could complete. And then, nothing. The last transmission crackled through at 0347 hours. Position confirmed. Altitude stable. Everything nominal. 60 seconds later, the radar signature blinked out of existence. No distress call, no mayday, no explanation. Just silence where a 170-foot aircraft had been moments before. Search and rescue launched within the hour. Ships converged on the last known coordinates. Aircraft swept grid patterns across hundreds of square miles of empty ocean. For 3 weeks, they searched. The world watched. Families waited, but the Atlantic gave up nothing. No debris, no wreckage, no answers, just endless blue water stretching to the horizon. The investigation stalled. Theories multiplied. Catastrophic mechanical failure, sudden depressurization, mid-air breakup. But without evidence, without wreckage, they were just guesses whispered into the void. Eventually, the search was called off. The families were told to grieve. The C-17 was declared lost at sea, its final resting place unknown. And as the years turned into decades, it became something else entirely. A ghost story, a cautionary tale, a mystery that refused to fade. But some mysteries demand answers. 15 months ago, a team assembled unlike any before. Not just salvage experts and deep-sea engineers, but oceanographers, forensic analysts, aircraft specialists who'd spent their entire careers studying how metal behaves under impossible pressure. They had something the others didn't: new technology. Autonomous underwater vehicles equipped with synthetic aperture sonar that could map the ocean floor in unprecedented detail. AI-driven analysis systems capable of identifying anomalies in millions of square kilometers of seafloor data. And they had something else. They believed they could find it. The search zone was vast, an area the size of a small country, depths ranging from 2,000 to 4,000 meters. Down there, the pressure would crush a human body in seconds. The darkness is absolute. The cold, just above freezing. It's an alien world, more hostile than the surface of Mars. And somewhere in that abyss lay the answers everyone had been searching for. The first 3 months yielded nothing. Just endless scans of mud and rock, and the ancient bones of the Earth. The team analyzed over 78,000 square kilometers of seafloor, every anomaly investigated, every signature tracked down. Ships that went down in wars, fought generations ago. Geological formations that looked like aircraft on sonar, but dissolved into nothing but stone. The ocean floor is a graveyard of false hopes. Month 4, then 5. Funding grew tight. Questions were asked. Was this just another futile search? Another team destined to fail, where so many others had? Then, on day 163, at a depth of 3,200 meters, the AI flagged something, a shadow in the data that didn't belong, a geometric regularity in a world of organic chaos. The team converged on the coordinates, and there it was. The first images came through at dawn. Grainy at first, shapes emerging from darkness, like a photograph developing in slow motion. And then, unmistakable. The tail section of a C-17 Globemaster III, rising from the seafloor like a monument to the impossible. 50 years. 50 years of pressure and cold and darkness. And it was still recognizable. The vertical stabilizer stood nearly intact, covered in a thin layer of sediment and deep-sea growth. As the ROV moved forward, more emerged from the gloom. The fuselage, split but largely whole, resting at a 15-degree angle. The wings, sheared off but nearby. The cockpit, somehow preserved, its windows staring blank and empty into the abyss. The team worked in shifts, documenting everything. High-resolution cameras captured every detail. Robotic arms took samples. Measurements were recorded with microscopic precision. This wasn't just archaeology. This was forensic investigation in the most extreme environment on Earth. What they found told a story written in twisted metal and shattered composite. The impact had been catastrophic, but not explosive. The aircraft had hit the water intact, or nearly so. The hull showed stress fractures consistent with rapid descent, but no evidence of fire, no blast signatures, nothing that suggested an explosion. The cargo hold lay open to the sea, its contents either scattered across the ocean floor or dissolved by 5 decades of salt water. But it was the cockpit that held the real secrets. The instruments, somehow still mounted in their panels despite everything. The controls, frozen in their final positions. And there, secured in protective casings, the flight data recorder and cockpit voice recorder. The black boxes that held the last minutes of flight, the final words, the truth of what happened in those last moments before the ocean claimed everything. The recovery operation took 6 days. Specialized equipment lowered from the support vessel. Cables attached with surgical precision, and slowly, carefully, the black boxes were brought up from the deep. Seeing sunlight for the first time in 50 years, the data was corrupted. 5 decades of pressure and cold had taken their toll. But modern forensic technology is extraordinary. What couldn't be recovered in 1975 could be reconstructed now. Specialists worked for weeks, extracting fragments, piecing together the digital echo of that final flight. What emerged was worse than anyone imagined and completely unexpected. The flight had been routine until 0346-23. Then a warning, sudden and severe. Not mechanical failure, not structural collapse, weather. A phenomenon so rare, so localized and violent that it barely has a name. A microburst, a downward explosion of air dropping from a storm cell with the force of a bomb. Wind speeds exceeding 100 knots, straight down, appearing without warning in otherwise calm skies. The C-17 dropped like a stone, 6,000 feet in 90 seconds. The pilots fought it. The flight data showed their desperate efforts, full throttle, nose up, everything by the book. For a moment they were recovering. Altitude stabilizing. Airspeed returning to safe parameters. Then the second microburst hit. This time, there was no recovery. The aircraft was too low, too slow, too far into the descent. The final transmission, the one that was recorded but never received, lasted 4 seconds. 3 words. Going down now. Impact came 17 seconds later. The investigation could finally close. The mystery could be solved. It wasn't pilot error. Wasn't mechanical failure. It was nature in all its random violence, striking at the worst possible moment in the worst possible place. an act of atmospheric chaos that couldn't have been predicted with 1975 technology and would be barely detectable even today. The wreckage remains where it fell. At that depth, recovery isn't practical, isn't necessary. It's been declared a memorial site now, protected by international agreement. The families have their answers. The investigation is closed. The legend can finally rest. But standing on the deck of the research vessel, watching the sun set over the coordinates where the C-17 lies in eternal darkness, you can't help but think about what it means. 50 years of mystery, solved by technology that didn't exist when the aircraft went down. 50 years of questions, answered by persistence and innovation, and the refusal to accept that some mysteries can't be solved. The ocean is vast, deeper than mountains are tall, darker than space. It holds secrets we can't imagine, wrecks we'll never find, stories that will stay buried forever. But this one, this titan of the skies that fell into the abyss and was lost to memory, this one came home. The C-17 Globemaster III was built to deliver hope to the darkest corners of the world. And in a way, even in death, it fulfilled that mission one last time. Because now we know, now the families have closure. Now the pilots who fought to the very end are remembered not as ghosts, but as heroes who faced the impossible and never stopped fighting. The Atlantic keeps many secrets, but this one, after 50 years, it finally let go. And somewhere in the darkness, 3,200 meters down, a metal giant sleeps, no longer lost, no longer forgotten, finally at peace beneath the waves,